Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 384. My next guest hasn't been with us since episode 161, so about 4.5 years ago. And we're going to talk about his new book, Spiritual Bitch Slap. Now, that sounds kind of provocative, but honestly, some of you people out there do need a little high five to the face with a chair. Yeah. So I'm going to bring on my great friend Jon Lovgren, and we're going to talk about his awesome new book. So, Jon, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rob. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
You know, your book is this wake up call to a lot of not just entrepreneurs, but people in general. I think they just kind of go about life, you know, with their eyes shut sometimes.
Yeah.
And yours is that book that people need to read to realize they have more potential than what they're showing.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I wrote it, a lot of it, because it's like we're on automatic pilot
Mhm.
and we're in survival mode, you could say, right? And it's like it's time to wake up. I don't know how to do that. So now I do. So I started working on this book and just realized that, you know what? I'm sorry if it offends anybody to title the spiritual bitch slap, but everybody seems to know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's not gender specific. It's not it's not against anybody or anything, right? It's just, hey, this is spirit trying to get you to wake up
Mhm.
and pay attention.
Yeah, and a
Oh,
lot of
stop
people,
running
I think,
around being fine all the time.
since COVID, everybody's been in this, I'm not gonna say coma, but eh,
Almost.
yeah, just they don't wanna put forth an effort, and, they go about their day, kinda like in a trance, and it's crazy to me because, I deal with entrepreneurs all day long. And it just seems like they've been beaten down, they've given up, and they have no purpose in life anymore. And I've noticed since, I'm not going to try to blame COVID for everything, but since COVID, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs have just given up. They say, "Why bother?" And for me, it's if I can get out of bed every day, I'm going to make some magic.
Yeah.
I'm going to make things happen. But that's not the mentality that some people have anymore.
No. And I think too, a lot of them it's a fear factor that's in there, right? That fear of failure and sometimes fear of success, even for some.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I always say that the spiritual bitch slap forces us to dig in deep within ourselves. And I always say that's the hardest thing we ever do is to go within, but it's also the most rewarding
Yeah.
when we do it.
Yeah. What prompted you to write a book called Spiritual Bitch Slap? Because, I know a lot of people are very withdrawn a little bit when it comes to titles.
Yeah.
I try to use ones that I know would rank well on SEO, or people are gonna just like the colors, the titles, but for me it's like, would I use that word?
Yeah, I went back and forth with it. I've been ruminating on this book for a couple of years. And originally I thought it was going to be called Get Pono,
Mm,
because that's essentially what it's about. You know, when we get pono meaning right or righteous or at one with everyone and everything, then when we get pono, get right with ourselves, it's easy to be right with the rest of the world.
mhm.
And then just in a meditation one day, it just came up to me and spiritual bitch slap. That's what it is. Because I wasn't listening to my intuition, and I should have turned right, and I didn't, and I went the other way, and I was like, "There's my slap. Why didn't you follow your intuition?"
Mhm.
So I just thought that, and I hang out at the Kava bar here most days, and talk story with people, share kava and life stories, etc. And I mentioned it to somebody, and I thought it was a very common term, but it
Mhm.
turns out not so much.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I want this title to wake people. I want to get your attention, because this is serious stuff. This will change your life. Can. I mean, you got to do the work, but the background is there. And so that's what it came to. And then through my own experiences, I've just kind of counted on, what were the hard points in my life? What were the hard questions I had to answer for myself? And started putting them out there and putting them in the book. And yeah, it's really going well. I do a book club once a week where we meet, and I also made tarot style cards
Wow.
with each of the reflections and prompts in it. So we start the meeting, everybody picks a card, and then we go around and everybody takes a minute or two and just kind of says, what does that card mean to them in that moment? And then we just take turns reading a chapter. And after the chapter, there's all the five prompts, of course, and then we just set a timer for 15 minutes and everybody writes in their journal. And then afterwards, we share what our experience was like. Some people read what they wrote, others just talk about how it felt to go through that. And I got to say, it's been pretty, what do I want to call it? Heartwarming, really, to see some of the changes in the people and some of the awarenesses that they have just in a short time. And yeah, it's getting really good response in that respect.
Well, I like those cards because when someone comes into your meeting, they can just pick one. And it
Yeah,
doesn't, normally people gravitate to something that they have familiarity with. So they're gonna, some people will always reach out to that specific card. Well, if you randomize them, they're forced to pick up something and think on a different level,
yep,
and it gets their creative juices flowing,
yeah,
and it does wake them up. It makes
yeah,
them see within themselves, and you know, for the listeners out there, it's not woo woo. You know, getting slapped upside your head metaphysically, does, help, your soul figure out stuff. And and I
yeah,
and I think that people confuse the things. They confuse woo woo and 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 spirituality, and so people don't do stuff.
right.
And there's always a solution. Sometimes you do have to look within.
Yeah. I mean, that's where the answers are. If you're, you know, uh, like it also stems from Ho'oponopono, right? The magic words 5 years ago. And I know a lot of people have read it and use it, not so much, but it's one of those things where that's too simple. It can't work.
Right.
And, if you get into the neuroscience, neuroplasticity, yada, yada, affirmations don't work either unless you use them consistently for long periods of time.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing with Ho'oponopono. The more you say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, the more it starts to take hold. And so at the end of each chapter, there's a couple of meditations that actually show how to use Ho'oponopono for those examples. I love you. I'm sorry I carried along fine for so long. Please forgive me for doing so. Thank you for the lessons I learned from it, etc. Um, and so it's kind of combining the two of them. And like I say, I'm just seeing some really good results. And it went out in, I think, early October. It went live on Amazon. So it's pretty amazing. I think I've reordered author copies 4 times at
Wow.
25. I've given away 100 books on the island,
Hmm.
um, or sold, use them in the bookshop, whatever.
Oh, for the
But
audience, John is in Hawaii, and so if you ever get yourself over there, visit him.
yeah,
But you're just not writing this book from, you know, a singular point of view. You have studied different religious perspectives and different customs and cultures, and so this book is that culmination of all that
yeah,
learning.
essentially. Yeah, and it's it's I'm a believer in I would not ask somebody to do something I won't do,
Hmm.
and so it's largely based on my own experience, good, bad, and otherwise, however you want to look at that. And I've had lots of slaps. I actually, now that I think about it, one of my most recent slaps was deciding to work with you. Right, I'm out there scrambling, trying to figure out how to get this book out there, and hired some local talent to do. They were social media experts, and uh, it wasn't really going anywhere. And then I'm driving down the road one day, and I realized in talking to somebody, uh, dude, you spent 27,000 dollars in advertising on magic words, and you're way upside down. So maybe you got to listen to what somebody you in the field knows what's going on and put your money elsewhere. So I was like, oh, wow, wake up.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, here we are.
marketing a book isn't easy. Marketing, in general, it's not always easy.
No,
And I try to make it as easy as possible for my clients to understand the mechanics of marketing. And
yeah.
it's for me, it's always been the human touch. It's always been, what can I deliver to make you feel, we've all heard know, like, and trust, but I've added a fourth component: feel safe, because
Yes.
it just people need to have that feel good, warm and fuzzy feeling when they hire somebody. And it's not always possible when you see all these flashy marketing messages that counteract all that feelings that you should be feeling.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it
it
just
kind of puts a mask over them, you could say.
right. And so, from your perspective, you're trying to market this book that will help so many people, and you don't want to put it in the wrong hands.
No.
So, I'm looking at it from the outsource coming in and saying, okay, John, this is what I believe you stand for. These are your core values. So we have to match that up to the others that want that type of information. So
Yes.
it's like, hey, I know you have this brilliant book, but delivering it to somebody who refuses to read,
Yeah.
not going to help them. So,
No. And
they
it's also one of those books where you don't read it once and then put it on the shelf and ends up in a garage sale for 10 cents
all right.
later on. It's somebody told me, it's like, dude, I like this because I keep it on my coffee table.
Hmm.
Somebody else said they keep it on their kitchen counter, and they get home from work, right? They had incident happen during the day, and they just grab the book and they say it's kind of like the Bible. Wherever I open it, it's appropriate, and I get an answer and I get some help, and it's helping in that way.
And when you read the book, it's not the information that you're getting is not sugar coated. And so I think it means more to people nowadays. They want to cut to the chase, they want the information, but they also want direction. and
Right?
and and, and your book is filled with these gentle affirmations, and so it guides you in the right direction.
Yeah. I like I said, I hang out. Some would say too much at the Kava bar, but there's a lot of people that come and go, of course. And part of it too is I hear a lot of victim. There's a lot of people stuck in the victim mode,
Yeah.
and they can't take responsibility for their part in whatever's going on. And so that was another reason. It's like, dude, how do we be real? How do we just be who we
Not
are?
me. My
Yeah.
phone's not.
Um, yeah. How do we just be me unapologetically? And it took me, well, 60 some years to figure it out, right? And the big part of it is the biggest thing I see is what will other people think?
Yeah.
That's our biggest blocker,
Yeah.
I think. Um, and so when we can get to the point where what other people think of me is none of my business, then we're pretty much free. That's freedom,
Mhm.
because we can go do what we want, be what we want, and the four agreements play very heavily into it. Don't take it personally.
Mhm.
Don't make assumptions, etc. Uh, and then that's where I think we start to find happy. When
Yeah,
we
the
become happy with ourselves. I ask people a lot, are you happy? Well, yeah. No, really, are you happy? Well, I would be. I could be
I
if
would be.
I'm like, okay, so how do we change that? How do we fix that? And I believe the book can help do that, right?
My last year, when I came back from France, I wrote my book, my legacy book. And a lot of people confuse money, leaving money to the next generation as legacy. For me, it's always been about knowledge. What can I
Yeah.
pass on to the next generation? And when I look at what you've done, it's not always about even knowledge. It's about
Right.
happiness.
Yeah.
You want your readers to reflect on their life. What have you done? What can be improved? Are you happy? And I like how, in this book, there's reflection prompts that gets them to wake up, that gets them to answer those questions that they haven't answered for years. I'm just looking at one right now. It says, "Where in my life am I still being adored for a version of me that is not real?" And I think some of the celebrities are like that.
Oh,
Yeah, they're oh, I'm this great person. You haven't been a celebrity for years, but you still want people to elevate you to that status. You are human. People treat you as a human, but you want them to treat you better. This is why
yeah,
you're not happy.
pretty much.
Yeah. So it's I like the book because it brings you back to earth. You know, gets
Yeah.
you out of that big headedness that you've erected for yourself, and it brings you back into an area that you can say, "Well, I can make this adjustment, and I'm going to be better." Or I can still be a dick, and nobody's not going to like me.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah. So, but it's. I think one of the things as an entrepreneur, though, too, is reviews. People get so caught up in the negative. I get reviews for my books. I get reviews for my service. And people are like, "Oh, someone gave me a negative review," and that bothers you. Why?
Yeah.
Really? We don't know their internal thinking. We don't know if they're jealous. We don't know if they're angry. We don't know if they are actually a customer, but they're mad
Yeah.
at something. We can't control that. But you want to harp over one negative review versus the 100 positive ones. I don't get it.
Yeah. I'd be more like, oh, thanks for the review, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, you help the algorithm. It's, and I think as we progress as humans, and we have to come to a realization that, you know, there's a better way to do things. There's a better way of thinking. But
Yeah.
I think if everybody who's ever been triggered by something reads this book, they won't be triggered by anything because they'll learn how to control their emotions. They'll
Right.
they'll, they'll learn how to be happier.
And yeah, and that's what when some people ask me to sign the book sometimes, and I always say, learn to love the slap, right? Because it's like I want to be grateful for. I'm grateful when those triggers come. Yeah, in the moment they might suck and it'd be embarrassing or hurt or whatever you want to go, wherever you want to go with it. But it's showing me something in myself that wants to be healed
Mhm,
that I didn't know was there, and so now I know how to heal it.
mhm.
I just can't heal it if I don't know it's there. So that's, hopefully it helps to do that. And I think that's why it's going to work out well in the longevity side, right? Because we can continue to use it as a reference book more than a read once and see later by.
Yeah. One of the things that I laugh at because you have on your website, Every Wednesday, people can meet you at the Kava Bowl, um, and and uh, and it says contributions appreciated, and it says avocados, papayas, gemstones. Welcome. It's like, wow, most of us, we publish a book, we want it to get out there in the right hands. We want people to read it and appreciate it and give us these warm and fuzzy appreciations. And here you're just like, look, just come on down. I'm going to teach you something. You know, you want to bring your fruit and your gemstones. That's great,
Yeah, cash is not king. And I don't want
especially
to.
in Hawaii.
Right, and I don't want anybody to not be able to participate because of lack of funds.
Yeah,
And in this day and age, especially like you said in Hawaii, the rents are ridiculous.
yeah,
True everywhere, I'm sure, but the prices are escalating all over the place, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that
yeah,
because I'm fine. I got a roof over my head, food in my belly, clothes on my back, and time to write books and play. And so I'm not chasing that dollar as hard. I got enough. And then I always say there's enough, and there's never enough,
right.
right?
And it would be nice if you know, even if you're not in Hawaii, even if you're not, uh, you know, maybe into the Kava Ball scene, maybe somebody can just donate some money to you to help give out more books.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of people that, yes, don't have the money. Yes, and I know from my all my works of art, my books, people are like, "Well, Rob, great, you have one book. I'll I'll give you $15 or $20, whatever it is." 60 books later, they're like, "Rob, you took all my money. I can't buy any more books." I get it. I get it. I really do. I enjoy writing. I enjoy
yeah,
sharing my knowledge with other people. And I will definitely, give you a book if money is a financial hardship for you.
yeah, yeah,
That's just the way we are.
yeah,
We value people learning.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
but this book is also an extension of the website. The website, as you started off saying, it's Get Pono, getpono.com. And this is your evolution into helping other people. I mean, your first book was Magic Words, right?
yep,
Yeah. And so this book is just, an evolution of that book. It
yeah,
helps people to see a better lifestyle,
right.
to have a better way of thinking.
And it helps learn to, like I said earlier, magic words is tough. I mean, Ho'oponopono, the four phrases,
Mhm.
it's hard to remember on it. But the book, the spiritual bitch slap, helps us understand how we can apply that better.
Yeah.
And then it starts, with neuroplasticity. Once it becomes a practice, or I would say, make it a lifestyle, then you really see the changes start happening in your life. And they're going to happen, but let's do it consciously.
Mhm.
Let's make them happen on purpose the way we would like to see them go instead of just tossing it up and hoping for the best.
Yeah. But, besides the books, you also will instruct people one on one.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah. I
do that
do.
via Zoom, or do they have to come to Hawaii?
No, you don't have to come to Hawaii. I am working on working towards some retreats, some 4 or 5 day retreats, but no, Zoom, phone calls, fine too. I just had one the other day. Somebody uh, contacted me through the website and wanted to talk story. So we just set up a time and had a phone call. Yeah. And I do everything's by contribution. I'm huge pay it forward. That's my legacy, I guess I don't know what you call it. But
No, it is. It's and I think that the people forget that pay it forward doesn't mean go cheap. It's not like he's doing this for $3, $4, pocket change. you do want to, create a lifestyle that you can, at least pay your bills. And I'm not saying, hey, everybody, that wants to contribute, give John $1,000, but there has to be something of substance, something of value traded.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if I know that someone deep down doesn't have any money, sure, the call's free.
Yeah.
Just how I am. But if the information that I give you is going to change your life, it should be worth something.
Right. And a lot of times I'll give the book away, and people say, "Oh, I want to pay." It's like, no, let's pay it forward. You take the book. If you like it, go buy one for a friend on
Hmm.
Amazon and give it to them. And just keep the ball rolling that way.
Hmm.
Um, and I heard somebody the other day say something about, "I paid it forward. I wonder when it's coming back." I was like, "Bro, you didn't pay it forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward has no, you have no expectations.
No,
Give just
and
what
I
you
I
can.
I
That's
think
about it."
I think that's where the world went wrong. Uh,
Yeah.
we everything seems to be reciprocation.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I did
We
this for
pay.
you. What are you going to do for me?
Yeah, it's and I used to be in one of these big trade groups where we would trade services, and it became such a pain in the rear end because everybody demanded something, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why don't I just do this? And if it comes back, it comes back. Rob, that's not how it works.
Yeah. I got
Yes.
involved in the bartering system thing back in oh, I really don't want to say when, the 70s, I think it was, late 70s, early 80s. And it's the same kind of thing, right? They had a whatever intrinsic value on whatever they were offering, and they would argue back and forth about, well, I'm not getting the same value. I'm like, you kind of defeat the purpose of it.
Yeah, yeah, and then some of these trade services, they put a price, a membership fee that you have to pay every month, and I'm like, so not only do I got to pay this fee, I'm giving away stuff and hope that one day it's gonna.
Yeah.
It's
So I got to pay you to
simple.
give my stuff away.
Yeah, just keep it simple. So
All
let's
right.
let's talk about your book club. If people come to Hawaii and they meet you at Kava Bowl, and besides just friendship and spirituality, what can they expect?
Um, well, you can expect real. I mean, everybody there is, that's talk story. I forget that that's not a common term
Right.
everywhere, but our lives are our story.
Hmm.
So when we talk about, when I say talk story, we're sharing our life experiences with each other.
Hmm.
And so in the Kava bar or around the Kava Bowl, Kava kind of promotes that, right? Where you just share your stuff and everybody's be real and we share each other's experiences.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's very relaxed. Um, and then the book club is just, like I said, on Wednesdays. And that's just whoever comes up, we circle around in chairs, close the doors. We start with, we got some ground rules to go through. What you hear here, leave it here, who you
Hmm.
see here, etc. And do my best to always create a safe space to be able to express.
Hmm.
And that happens quite a bit, actually. Sometimes there's tears, there's oftentimes a lot of laughter. And I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does,
Okay.
and not a lot of, and I'm not going to say it's a book club, but it is a safe space to be able to share your stories.
Yeah,
You don't see that a lot. Um,
no,
yeah, maybe if I went to a 12-step program, it's going to be safe, safe. But this, I think, it goes beyond that type of philosophy. This
yeah,
this puts the power back into people.
exactly. And I just called it book club because I wasn't sure what else to call it. I mean, typically book clubs read a book and talk about it and then move on to another book. So it's probably more appropriate to call it a book study.
Yeah,
Might be a better name for it.
and you focus on one book,
Yeah,
yours.
focus on the one. Yeah, and then we've been through the whole book one time. So tomorrow we're going to start back on chapter one, and I give everybody a new book. And then I think it's going to be interesting how we've already written in the journal, right, for the chapters. So, but I'm pretty sure that when we write in chapter 1 tomorrow, it's going to be different than the one we did 9 weeks ago.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, uh, and it may be like, okay, I don't need to answer this. I already did.
Hmm.
So, yay, that part of me is healed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the more we can go within, I think the more real we can become and the more honest and, stop taking everything so personally. And if somebody hurts my feelings, I got to remember that they're just being them.
Yeah.
If my feelings are hurt, there's something within me that I need to look at. So thank you for pointing that out again.
In my younger years, I took things personally.
Sure.
Someone would call me a name, and I'm like, ugh, and I'm clenching my fists and ready to fight them. And I'm like, what does this solve? Really? I mean, why am
Yeah.
I getting involved in their anger? It just doesn't. And so I had to start, just letting it go. And one of my biggest therapies actually was answering calls from scammers
I remember those.
because they would irritate the heck out of me. I'd be slamming the phone down, my blood pressure's boiling. I'm what a freaking scammer. And I thought, why don't I just flip the script and just, you know, bait them along, keep them on the phone as long as I could. And the more I did that, the more these stories would become funny.
Yeah.
And I started writing about them. And I had a whole series of books then called Rob Versus, and people loved them. And
Yeah. I
so
got to
here I
say,
took my anger and turned it into something profitable.
yeah, yeah.
And I think if more people learn to do that, not only would the world be a better place, but we're sharing how we're spinning that negative into something that's useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're energy transformers, you could say, right? When we wake up, we take the negative stuff and we turn it into positive and give it back out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
But
more we do that, right, the more you stay in gratitude, the more you have to be grateful for. So
so,
it's
on your book is available on Amazon and paperback and Kindle. Um, what else can they buy directly from you?
uh, not just yet, but that's coming soon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they can buy
We're
those
also
cards that you showed,
what?
and they can
Yeah, the
eventually
cards
buy the card.
are those are probably going to be out. This was a test print, and I'm working on that. They're probably going to be, I would guess, into February before they're ready to come out. But
Nice.
yeah, they'll be available on the website, and I'll probably put together, or I'm going to put together package deals.
Mhm.
The cards and the spiritual bitch slap, or maybe it's cards in both books for whatever the price
Yeah.
comes out to be.
Yeah, a combo pack because people are gonna learn so much, and they can create their own book clubs around, their areas talking about your book and helping people.
Yeah, that would be. Uh, well, I would love to see that happen,
I could see
just
that
because of what I'm seeing here.
spiritual bitch slap centers all over America.
Yeah,
But it is. It's part of your legacy. It's part of what you want to teach the future generation.
yeah, that is. You said something about that earlier about money. People want to leave money to the. I bet you're going to say the same thing, but I can't tell you how many people parents pass on, and the inheritance comes in, and now it's a huge fucking shit show.
Oh, it is. And the thing is
But
that
yeah,
when you look at the wealth transfer going back even 100 years, within the second generation, the money's gone.
oh yeah,
And it's because they didn't earn it, so they don't know how to manage it, and so they
right.
spend it, and it's gone.
Well, and worse than that is the fighting over it.
Hmm.
And siblings that love each other all of a sudden aren't speaking to each other for
Yeah,
20, 30 years.
yeah.
So
It's
I'll leave this out there and you guys can talk about it. That's more valuable than any money I could leave.
Yeah. So, everybody that's watching, please go and buy John's book on Amazon. Uh, I would buy the print copy because Kindle is great if you're going to be traveling, but you can't write in it. You can't make notes.
Yeah.
With a physical copy, you can write in it. It's all your thoughts are right there. And buy a couple copies. Keep one, give to your friends, start a club.
Start the book club, book study. Yeah.
Yeah, and or buy the combo packets when they're available on John's site, getpono.com. And just remember that your life can be better than what it is. But sometimes you do need that spiritual bitch slap to wake you up. So,
Yeah. We would call it
any
a course correction.
yeah, any last words of wisdom that you want to impart?
Oh, I don't know about wisdom, but I would like to say that on getpono.com, just anybody, my contact information is there. Send me an email. I answer all of them. And I'm open to phone calls. If you have questions, comments, want a little guidance in your own book club, then just reach out and I'll be happy to help you out however I can.
This is what makes you an e-hero, John. And it's not just about the book, but it's about your, giving nature. If you could do everything for free, you would. But there
Yeah.
has to be there, and I tell people, look, there has to be some skin in the game. There has to be some value transfer. He's giving
Yeah.
you his knowledge. Pay the man. I'm just saying, So
I take avocados.
so
But
for
yeah.
everyone else, please go buy the book, visit his website, contact him, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Adios.
Thank you, Rob.